Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Vice Rhino here. Cirrus over there.
I have a ham sandwich.
I am glad you have meat.
I'm glad I have meat too. I hope nothing bad ever happens to my meat.
Foreshadowing. By the end of the stream, one of us will be castrated.
Live castration, Cam.
Considering I basically already have been.
Not fair.
Yeah, so guess what?
What's up?
So I announced on my video this past week that I am working on a project that is quite a bit bigger than my normal thing. And I've been wanting to do this for a while. I've been kind of semi-working on it since like December. And it's already morphed from what my initial plan was. And then I realized that I am going to Europe with one of my kids. And if I do some recording in Germany, I can make it a tax deduction. But
True.
all that aside, I was like, you know what? I could use some, like, with what I want to do with this, I could use some extra equipment. And it's stuff that, like, I don't need any of this stuff, so I don't want to spend money on this stuff. So I'm like, I'll throw together a wish list and see what people want to get for me. And they got almost everything on the goddamn wish list already.
Huh.
So, like, I'm using my brand new, not dunked in soy milk microphone tonight. I promise I'll take better care of these ones. But yeah, no, there's someone that, well, it was crowdfunded, so a bunch of people sent in a bunch of donations to get a gimbal.
I love those. I have one.
People are going to regret sending me expensive equipment because I had a gimbal that was for my cell phone. It lasted me one trip, and it ended up in salt water and didn't work anymore. Oh, John Hopkins, thank you for...
Why are you like this?
I don't know. Thank you for gifting 5 community memberships on the YouTube side of things. So yeah, anyway, I was all excited about because I like went to the trouble of setting up a Throne notification thing. So if you go to throne.com/vicerhino and donate something to one of the items that's left, then a notification will show up. But yeah, most everything is... I got the same number of presents on my kid's birthday as my kid got. So it was my kid's birthday on Monday.
And you somehow found yourself in a card shop that day.
Yeah, okay. I guess I got to tell that story. So I walked into a card shop, getting cards for my kid, because, you know, when you're into Magic and you don't know what to get a kid for their birthday, then Magic it is. As soon as I open the door, these 2 people are just screaming at each other. I'm like, oh my God, what am I walking into? And I look over, and it's the cashier and one of the customers are just yelling at each other about, like, one of them was like, the Final Fantasy VII Magic decks are, like, they're just reskinning useless cards to try and trick people who don't really like Magic into buying Magic stuff. It's just a cash grab. It's useless. They shouldn't do that sort of thing. Whereas the guy behind the counter was defending it and defending it very vigorously and loudly, and they were yelling at each other. And so I just walked up to the counter and I was like, so when do you think you're going to have the SpongeBob decks in? And yeah, the looks on their face were priceless.
So, I'm going to be honest, I would have liked to have been in that conversation, because I like being in confrontational nerd conversations, because it's not hard to be right in them, especially if you've spent a lot of time with, like, a fuck ton of data. So I could just sit there in the conversation and go, All right, so I have a question. How many commander decks are made of just reskinned cards? How many commander precons are built with those? Every one of them. Cool. How many of them, how many new cards are designed per commander deck? 10. Cool. How many new cards are designed per Final Fantasy commander deck? 10. Cool. So are we of the opinion that every commander precon is a bad purchase because it's all reprints? Is that the hill we're dying on? I'm willing to have that conversation because that's the conversation you're having.
Yeah.
But
I was just looking to stir up some shit. Because I know the SpongeBob cards are controversial.
yeah, people are not. So the SpongeBob stuff, Magic players made fun of all of the new like Universes Beyond things, going, oh, when are we going to get the SpongeBob set, as a joke? And then I guess Wizards heard that and said, okay, sure, we got you.
It's like Morbius all over again.
Morbin time. I loved when he said that in the movie. I saw it the second time in theater so I could watch him say it again.
Oh, I can't believe how hard the studios got trolled with Morbius.
People don't really like this movie. I'm sorry.
I still haven't seen it.
Speaking of the Sony Marvel verse and things I don't like from it, I watched Venom Last Dance, and I feel like that movie was just somebody typing away in ChatGPT, going, let's make sure that every character makes the worst possible decision they could make in each and every one of these scenarios presented in the movie. Also, I feel like the Venom movies, as much as I enjoyed the first two, I feel like the Venom movies live and die only by how funny you think it is to hear Venom go, "Hey."
You kind of garbled there, so I have no idea what you said, and I don't know what Venom is supposed to have said.
He just screams Eddie's name, but he does it in his Venom voice, where it's like, "Hey." It sounds like he's fucking Double D, or not Double D, but Ed from Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Okay. Well, speaking of media, I finished Avatar.
Cool. How'd you enjoy it?
It was good. I liked it.
It's a good series. I got in a nerd fight with somebody about the series at a convention because they held up a sign asking for a fight about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hello.
Yeah, no, like, I also watched the first 5 minutes of the, was it M. Night Shyamalan who did the first movie?
Yes.
Yeah, so I watched like the first 5 minutes of that and was like, oh my god, this is the worst.
It's horrible.
It's so boring. And it's like, it's the same story. How did you fuck it up?
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. No, I really enjoyed Last Airbender. There are some people in the community apparently that like that series that think that the ending was really bad, but I don't understand those people.
I mean, there were definitely things that...
Spoilers for Avatar, everybody.
There were things that were like very obviously trying to set up other media.
Mm-hmm.
And so like immediately, like my partner and I turned to each other and like, okay, so what happened to his mom? They're clearly leaving a cliffhanger there. Is there like a comic book that they set up? And yes, there was a comic book where it explains what happened to his mom. And
I read Zuko's mom.
Yeah, I read the synopsis, and what happened to Zuko's mom sounds really dumb.
Yeah,
so I'm glad they didn't cover that in the show. Mark Fernkoff says the artwork on Doctor Who Magic Decks was so good it almost got me into Magic. That's saying a lot. New episodes start Saturday morning at 2 a.m. Also uwu. But yeah, no, there were a few things like that where it's like, okay, clearly they're setting something up.
Yeah. I will say, for me, a thing I enjoyed about the series is that it's... So I like shonen series, and Avatar is very much an American-made shonen series from top to bottom. And there's a hallmark of shonen that Avatar did to a degree, but it did not go like full sail with it until the comic books. One of the main things that happens in shonen is that you usually don't kill your villains. You usually have to repurpose them in some way. 9 times out of 10, this is the villains joining the hero's team. They see the light, usually because the hero does incredible violence to them, and that changes their mind. Shonen's a strange world, but that is usually what happens.
To be like, Zuko switching sides was telegraphed right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was not a surprise at all. I don't know if it was supposed to be a surprise, but...
But, like, the only character that truly does a side switch in that series, aside from, like, this character was kind of an asshole and then became less of an asshole, is Zuko. And I'm happy that they didn't do it to everybody, especially... In the series, they never fix Azula. She couldn't be fixed in the series. I know
she's just in a cell now.
I know that her mental health gets better as she gets older, because the comics cover that a little bit, where like Azula does reform a bit. Mainly, she just stops being as psychotic. But the series doesn't tackle that. I'm kind of happy that it didn't. Also, the method of dealing with Ozai.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 50-50 on it. I kind of feel like Ozai didn't need to live anymore.
So I get what they were going for, but there were a few problems with that. Is that, first off, Aang absolutely killed some motherfuckers in season 2. No, season 1.
Yeah.
So like the fact that he gets up there and he's like, I have never used my powers to kill anyone. Like, I watched you turn into a kaiju and toss a bunch of guys off ships in the middle of a frozen wasteland. There's no way they survived that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you can't be pulling the pacifist thing now after killing all the minions. And it also, like, the giant turtle lion thing, it was very, very Deus Ex Machina, came out of nowhere suddenly. Here's another option.
Yeah, so the turtle lion thing doesn't bother me too much, because that gets expounded upon a lot in Legend of Korra.
Okay. Yeah, but I didn't watch Legend of Korra. I watched the show that I watched. If it's not going to be expounded on in that show. Yeah, no, I understand. It's very much I've seen the sequel show and therefore, which doesn't excuse it happening in the original show. My issue isn't that Aang removed Ozai's bending in the end, and that was like the solution to the problems. My problem is that Ozai's power never came from his bending. Ozai's power came from his political charisma. Like, it came from the fact that he was able to convince an entire nation of people. The fact that Zuko could suddenly be Fire Lord with zero pushback just didn't really.
It means there's a deeper problem
time,
in the Fire Nation.
At the same time, though, I understand, because, like, ultimately, we are combing through what is supposed to be children's media. This is a show for kids. And yes, it's made to be enjoyable by adults as well. But ultimately, the target demographic are kids. So it's okay if they have things that seem kind of... what's it called? I'm drawing a blank on the word. There's a word to describe when you, like, force plot points into a thing.
Ham-fisted?
Sure, that's not the word that I was thinking of, but it fits. So yeah, like, as long as I was kind of looking at it from the... oh, I don't have water, so beer will have to do. Thank you, Van Briggs. As long as I was looking at it from the perspective of it is ultimately a kids show, it's a very good show. But if you try and pretend like it's supposed to be this serious adult show, then it's like, no. It's like they go from, like, straight up killing motherfuckers to goofing off and complaining about how hungry they are in like 2 seconds.
I mean, so to be fair, I don't look at it as a kid's show because I feel like that's the common refrain when it comes to children's media.
Fennec,
but
you clearly have not been timing things properly. This is not the longest aside. There have been nights when we have not started the news until 9:30.
True. How's it going, Ravi? But I would say that if I worked up an appetite killing a bunch of dudes, I'd complain about being hungry afterwards. That adrenaline's going to wear off after a bit. Just from my perspective. But I guess it's also the fact that I've grown up on a lot of shows that do those kinds of asides for the characters. They've gone through this really big event, and now that the characters are in cooldown mode, it's time to complain about mundane problems. And that's a common theme in a lot of anime, which Avatar is definitely trying to emulate. There's no ifs, ands, or buts on whether Avatar is trying to be an American anime. It 100% is.
Well, yeah.
That shit even runs at 12 FPS like an anime. And it... Fun fact, the one thing that stopped me from watching Avatar for years was the frame rate. And I'm not even lying.
That's funny because when they... For the big final battle, when they busted out the computer graphics for the blimps at the end, and you could see the frame rate drop from what it was before.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, they did not have the money to render all of their normal 12 frames. That went down to 6.
Yeah. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate stuff that just does not run the way that I'm expecting it to.
I probably wouldn't have even noticed the frame rate drop as a kid.
Yeah, as a kid, I probably wouldn't have noticed it, but like Avatar came out, let's see, what was it, 2008?
I think 2004.
So like was it 2004?
I looked it up. 2005 to 2008 is when it ended.
Okay, 2008 is when it ended. So I did not personally watch Airbender when I was in high school. I should have, because like that came out. I know what it was. I wasn't a Nickelodeon kid. I was a Cartoon Network kid. And 2004 was when 2004 to 2005 is when I stopped watching TV. And I moved into mostly playing MMOs as my like passive entertainment that I would do. And my TV just became the CRT that plays Paper Mario. Jasper says, did you not watch Teen Titans? I did, but Teen Titans wasn't Nickelodeon. Teen Titans is Cartoon Network. I've 100% watched Teen Titans. But you have to remember that Teen Titans was part of regular programming while I was growing up on the channel I was watching. So little things like that didn't occur to me. I know Teen Titans does a lot of like frame rate dips and even goes to like 3 to 4 frames a second for a lot of its segments because it's emulating the anime style really hard. But again, if it's the thing that I was exposed to naturally growing up, my brain was likely to not see that as much. Whereas Avatar, I would be like in a hospital and it would be playing on the TV somewhere and I'd recognize what it is. And the first thing that stood out to me was, oh, that's an American show. Oh, that's not American animation. That's not how we animate shows here. We do things in 24 generally here. Unless we can get away with doing things on 2s.
Yeah. And Fennec says 20-year-olds look like kids to me. That's because they are kids, Fennec.
Yeah, 20
If you're 20 years old, you are a child.
20-year-olds are people who have just enough experience in the adult world to feel overconfident with their experience in the adult world or overwhelmed. And there is no in between. You are one of the two.
Mm-hmm. All right. Shall we get on to some news?
I mean, I was enjoying the nerd conversation far more than any news we could talk about, but sure.
You don't want to hear about how the TSA is shooting us all with gay beams?
Bring it on.
Winston? Why is it named Winston?
Which is this?
Okay. She's naming her plants. And she's,
Oh, okay. So
one
we're
is named
naming one of the
Winston.
plants the super intelligent gorilla from Overwatch? Okay.
Neither of us know anything about Overwatch, so no.
We're naming him after the incredibly xenophobic British leader?
Probably not. I mean, if she did that as like an insult to him, that would be funny because the plant that she showed, it's kind of small and scrimpy and looks like it needs some extra love in order to make it through. So, yeah, if she did name it after him, that would be hilarious because it just doesn't fit.
Why is it that when I look up Winston and I see the Winston from Overwatch, the first question on here in people what Overwatch character is Mexican? Okay, sure, why not?
So, yeah, so me, I misread Winston as Winton, which is a character in Bluey.
Everything
Everything
is
comes
cartoons.
back to everything is Bluey.
Yeah, including the chair.
Ravi subscribed for 17 months. Thank you, Ravi. And said, almost a year and a half of subbing. Vice Rhino, get ready to clip something. Uh-oh. I don't need to get ready.
My mind went to the cigarette brand Winston. See, I don't think about that because I tend not to think about things that are super fucking gross.
I didn't know there was a cigarette brand named Winston.
I hate that there's a cigarette brand named Marlboro because I grew up with those being the giant plant monsters in Final Fantasy.
I mean, you know that's on purpose, right? Like their attacks are the bad poison breath. Like I just assumed that was deliberate.
We just assumed that was deliberate.
Yeah. Because they're gross. They've got bad air surrounding them.
I have to know now.
Got it. Are you looking it up too? Or?
I was looking it up as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the name comes from the Japanese word moroboru, which means sour stomach.
Well,
which is what they have.
Okay, but I got to Reddit, and the first response to the question of whether it's a reference to the cigarettes was, warning, smoking may cause confusion, slowness, drowsiness, poison, and in some cases turning into a frog.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Hey,
Curses Final Fantasy has sidetracked us again.
I'm just fucking happy that you finally like referenced some game or media or whatever, and I actually got the reference right away.
You know, that's fair. Anyway, we're going to wax lyrical about the different ways in which Banjo-Tooie is not better than the original Banjo-Kazooie. I literally have Banjo-Tooie pulled up to play after we're done with this, so.
Okay. I never really played either of them.
Do you like platformers? Yes, you do. You played Hollow Knight.
Okay, yeah, but Cirrus, I'm so fucking particular with which ones I like, and I don't even know which ones tickle my fancy and not. Like, Cuphead apparently is fantastic. I have no desire to play it. I don't know why, just like looking at it is just like, no, that doesn't look like a game that I want to play.
Well, because Cuphead's a hell game. Like, it's a rage game. That's all it is. That's what it was designed to be.
What do you mean? Like, just it's hard?
Yeah, the point of Cuphead is to be a balls-to-the-wall hard experience that is very short, like an hour and 10 minutes long, but...
No, that doesn't bother me.
Makes your balls hurt.
That doesn't bother me.
Right, I'm just saying that, okay, so what you... The games that I've seen you enjoy, especially Hollow Knight, that's a Metroidvania platformer. You like exploration, you like games with deep systems, you like games that...
No, I don't like the deep systems. It depends what you mean by a deep system.
So almost every Metroidvania has a very deep system, and the system is exploration. It's a thing that people who are ADHD or have autism tend to latch onto because it takes a simple concept and allows your brain to explore that simple concept for a really, really long time.
Okay, so when you said deep system, I was thinking of that thing in modern games where like you've got like the skill tree and you have to choose.
No.
Like if you choose
bloat.
the wrong one, it locks other ones out and stuff. I fucking hate that nonsense.
No, that's just bad bloat. That's just really, really bad bloat.
And crafting in games, like, oh, you have to make your weapon. No, just fucking give me the weapon.
Yeah,
I know. Like what?
I hate that. I hate that shit as well. No, so crafting is completely antithetical to this concept because what a crafting system does is it gives you a large system, not a deep system, but a large system, something that is overwhelming and requires you to learn a lot in order to get a little bit done. By contrast, a deep system like what you find in most Metroidvanias or even in card games is something that is really simple on the surface. You only have to know a little bit to execute stuff, and then the further you play around with the system, the more things you learn about it, and the more it opens up to you. Most platformers tend to have some kind of form of this with like micro movements. Oh, I can tap A to jump. Oh, I can wall jump. That's two things. But there's 15 billion things speedrunners find that you can do with just those two things that expands what's possible in that game. Also, Growlithe is complaining early. I'm going to let her out and then we get to the news.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's just that actually makes a lot of sense because like that's one of the things I like about Hollow Knight is that like the control scheme is easy. Like one of the things that put me I bought a PlayStation 4 and that was one of the biggest wastes of money of my life because I've barely ever played that because most of the games that I got for it was like there was just way too much. It's like it's not just like this is your attack, this is your defense, this is your jump or whatever. It's like this is this attack, and if you modify it this way, then you can do a different attack, and then you can do a different attack, and you like there's so many different attacks. I was like, I'm never going to remember all this. I need to be able to remember what the fuck I'm doing. So yeah, Hollow Knight appealed to me because it's just a very simple command set. And yeah, I don't really do speedrun skips. But even then, like even other Metroidvanias, though, I don't really get into them like I have with Hollow Knight. Like I've never played Metroid. I tried Metroid, but it just didn't tickle me. Okay, just waiting for the dog man to get back. Same problem with Street Fighter. This is the reason why fighting games I play is Smash, or why the only fighting game you play is Smash. Is that because Smash is just button mashing and nothing else? Because I have yet to figure out how to do anything in Super Smash. Super Smash Brothers? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. Have I tried Ori and the Dark Forest? I played one of the Ori games. Okay. I did beat it, but it did not capture me the same way Hollow Knight did.
I am back.
Hi, back.
I exist.
I'm Vice Rhino.
Fair enough. I believe you.
Well, you shouldn't, because that's my persona is a lie.
Oh, well, that's entirely fair. But after all, aren't all of our personas lies? Aren't the masks we put in front of our friends and family just little lies we tell about that version of ourselves?
I am a series of masks covering something long dead.
It feels like a quote from something, but it's also very true for anybody past 25.
I don't remember what it's from, but it struck a chord with me.
I cast Gary. Thanks to my devotion to black, all of you burn for 1 per devotion.
Ooh. Are we doing a Gary magic card?
Yeah, there is a Gary magic card. His name's Gray Merchant of Asphodel, and everybody just calls him Gary.
But is he fabulous like my Gary?
I mean, let's be honest. If somebody did an alternate artwork of the Gray Merchant of Asphodel with Gay Unicorn Gary on it, it would make perfect sense. Only fans of Magic and also this show would understand the reference.
There's such a wide audience. I'm going to sell so many of it and make so much money.
Yeah, you'll be able to sell 10.
If that.
Robbie says, stream elements tip or PayPal. So for the credit fund,
Throne.com/Vice Rhino.
just hit !Dono, because that one will automatically calculate into the tips goal. I have that set up to automatically go.
I actually, in my Friday video coming up, I was like, oh, our sponsor today is you, hopefully, if you give me money or whatever. And I end it by saying, go to throne.fuck/cum. So I'm like, don't actually...
Fuck/cum?
Yeah. So I'm just like, don't actually go there. But the real advertisers don't let me swear and be vulgar and stuff, so I thought I'd enjoy that while I was the one that has to approve it.
Fair enough. I haven't had an advertiser for a while.
I just have Surfshark. Every 6 months they send me a new contract and I say sure.
Fair enough.
I mean, I've turned down a lot. Like, Fume keeps trying to get me. There's things that you, like, breathe flavored air to stop smoking. Except, like, when I looked into it, it's, like, very, very dubious whether or not it actually is helpful at all. And I'm like, I don't want to be selling a product that is supposed to help people quit like do something so important like quitting smoking that is actually just snake oil. Like,
yeah, you'd like
no.
it to actually be backed up by data. Katini says no more Playground. Oh, so I still have my sponsorships from DDLG Playground and Wraith. Those haven't disappeared. It's more of the I haven't grabbed a contracted sponsor that is, we're going to pay you X amount of dollars now. I have affiliate links still. I have those.
So, Raid Shadow Legends.
I
turned them down ages ago, and I haven't seen anything from them since. So I don't know if they just didn't bother with me anymore after that, or what. But
they would need to offer me at least half of what they offered the Golden Bolt, and I'm not able to disclose how much they offered the Golden Bolt, but I know the number, and Raid knows the number. Call me.
Lord of Uzclax says, ground news too big to bother with you now? No. We parted ways. It was kind of mutual, I think, because I'm not the most pleasant person to deal with, because I don't like being told that I have to do things. So, like, even Surfshark saying, like, oh, you have to say the URL and display it on the screen, and you have to do it like this, whatever, and you have to use this specific asset. Like, that bothers me, but I do it anyways because I understand whatever. It's their marketing experts. I'm just here to cash the check for that portion of the video. But for ground news, there was too much of like, oh, it has to flow naturally from your actual video, and I don't know. I was pushing back and they were pushing back, and it was just like, no, they were too difficult for me to deal with, and I was probably too difficult for them to deal with. So we just kind of mutually were like, okay, no more, we're done.
Also, I just received, I have to move this immediately into the savings account for paying the credit stuff. Give me just 1 second.
Okay.
Ravalern just dropped, it came out to $482.
Ooh, nice.
I know that the amount that he donated was technically $500, so now I'm forced at Money Point, because this pays my bills. Oh, woo. Oh, woo. And also, oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
You fucking ooh slut.
It's not.
You ooh whore.
It is a thing that I am having to do for survival. Shut the fuck up. Also, sidebar, and definitely not. God, it sounds wrong to say this afterwards, but tomorrow I'm likely gonna have Katie Montgomery on.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be talking about a study that was recently published that had interviews with trans people that said that trans people who involve themselves in the adult industry usually do it for survival. The study says that because that's what the interviews that are in the study publicly say, but the author who is synthesizing the study for our ears says, it seems that trans people engage in the adult industry to affirm their gender more often than they do it for survival. And that's not what's in the fucking study.
I saw her posting about that on Blue Sky.
Yep,
So,
I wanted to cover it, and then I just said on a whim, you know what? Fuck it. Katie's obviously mad about this too, and she probably knows more about this than I do.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna contact her and see if she wants to come on and talk about this, so I have somebody with far more expertise than me talking about it. And she said that she'd be willing to when she's done playing Pokemon tomorrow. So when she's done, she's a card game fanatic like I am. So when she's done at her Pokemon tournament, she's likely going to be coming on stream if nothing breaks down in communication.
AKA time zone shenanigans.
Yep, that's why I was trying to do the UK to normal person time zone.
As
here.
someone who has had Katie on my channel, I know how annoying it is to try and coordinate things with UK people.
Yep. God, they took over most of the world once, and they couldn't fix the fucking time thing while they were at it.
Australia was
Useless.
the worst, though. I had Nervardia on my channel years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, Australia's the worst.
Also, Clueless Expert is also forcing me to say, ooh, again, I thank you very, very much. I've just gotten the notification that I have to transfer another bit over. Stop fucking balls!
You've been a bad little girl and you're getting a vigorous spanking right now.
And this entire time, I am just messing with meat, and it doesn't make it any better.
Is there virtual adrenochrome in your meat?
I mean, there's some red stuff, but I think that's just meat juices.
Oh, love me some meat juices.
I'm just at the point where I'm trying to pat down all the moisture so I can get it nice and dry to apply the rub. So I can rub down my meat while I'm in a stream with Vice Rhino. Okay,
me
sure.
and Gary are irresistible.
I guess I'm just happy that I'm halfway through the Micro Center payoff thing. I'm happy about that. That makes me happy.
I don't know what that means.
So, I let chat know this as well. So last year when finances got really, really bad, and we couldn't really recover, we were having to use credit to take care of a lot of things like food and gas and pretty much everything. The reason that I do budget decks is because of me, right? The reason that I've talked about doing budget decks for so long is because for so long that's how I've had to play Magic. But anyway, when my video card started going on the fritz and it caused streams to just shut down repeatedly over and over again, chat funded various computer parts to take care of my machine. Then I got a choice, basically. Do I pay some of these bills that I have with what chat's money was, or do I do the thing where I don't use the money that chat gave me for the stuff that it's supposed to go to? The decision ended up being, obviously the computer parts need to go into my machine because they paid for it, period. So I put the computer parts on credit so that I could pay bills off credit. Because we were still in the situation where that was all happening. That was the way to get bills and food taken care of at the same time.
Yeah.
So now I am on the other end of that, trying to fix that previous problem.
Yeah, so that's one of the perks of being a YouTuber is that occasionally you can do stuff like that, where you can have higher end equipment than you can afford yourself just sent to you by people who care about what you do.
Yeah, I appreciate it greatly. That's why I also wanted to be honest with my chat about why the situation happened the way it did.
Yeah.
Hey, Here's the reason why I have these things. The computer parts are here. I have them in the machine.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, like, financially, if it was up to me, ain't no fucking way I would have bought this thing.
Oh, the gimbal?
Yeah, this thing is fucking overkill for what I need. And it's the cheap version. I felt bad adding the cheap version because it's so overkill for me, but like...
Look, the only reason that I have my gimbal is because when I had that whole mental breakdown, the director for the video game I was voicing for sent me my payment early. Originally, it was the contract was I'd get paid based on sales of the game and stuff. Sent me payment early so that I could take time off. But one of the prerequisites of here's your payment is I need you to find other healthier ways that you can monetize your content to survive. And so one of the investments I made was in a gimbal so that I could do more stuff on the Magic the Gathering channel that required me to be in real life. So, like you, the only reason I have a gimbal is because somebody was willing to help out with that at one point in time. Otherwise, I would have kept telling myself, why would I need this thing to hold my phone? I can hold my phone.
My phone has image stabilization on it.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Does your gimbal also have a tripod on it?
Yes, it's got a crappy little...
Yeah, the little fold out thing at the bottom.
But it's got a 1/4-inch thing on the bottom, so I can stick it on a real tripod if I wanted to.
Yep. Okay.
But also,
our gimbals are...
if your gimbal's good enough, does your tripod need to be good?
Man, it sounds
the answer
like
to that question is yes. Yeah, ideally you want a good tripod and a good gimbal, and the tripod is more important, I would say.
There's a reason that I have like 6 tripods, and that's not counting the tripods I've given to other people when I've not needed them any.
Oh, so the tripod that I put on my list is significantly bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to transition to my staying home tripod, and the one that I have now is going to be my traveling one.
Stoff says I was busy and Jet had to get me. What's going on? Hold on. Why are y'all rubbing meat without me?
Oh, we're talking about how the TSA wants to make you gay by taking naked pictures of you and shooting you up with virtual adrenochrome.
Yeah, we're talking about gay
wirelessly.
beams right now.
Yeah.
The rubbing meat is that while we're doing this, I am actively dry rubbing steaks. I just got all the moisture sucked out of them with paper towel, and now I am at my desk dry rubbing steak.
Circe is sucking the moistness out of his meat while we talk about the gay beams.
I am, and in fact, if you want, I can just take a picture of these as I am seasoning them.
You taking pictures of your dry meat?
I am taking pictures of my dry meat, and I am sending those pictures to you.
I don't want your dry meat pictures.
You'd rather them be wet
putting
meat
them
pictures,
on stream.
You fucking weirdo.
I mean, maybe. I'm not showing these pictures on stream.
Oh, that's entirely fair. I can show them to my stream.
Yeah, you can do that if you want. Yeah, that's some nice looking meat. I like the look of your meat.
I like the look of my meat too. I look at my meat a lot.
And then,
but also,
just let Stoff draw them.
Where's my zoom button? Here we go.
Here
we are.
Really
There's
need to
my
zoom
meat.
in to be able to see Circe's meat.
There's my meat. There's my meat, everybody. I'm not done seasoning it. That's the first pat down. But there's my meat. There's where it's at the moment.
Okay.
Delicious meat.
Delicious meat with gay beams and virtual adrenochrome.
With gay beams.
Because why the fuck would we not have virtual adrenochrome in the beams that make us gay?
Smacko says your meat is looking kind of colored. That's racist, Smacko.
So my partner made fun of me for being white because she's got the the Jamaican patties that you can get.
Jamaican patties?
Yeah.
What is a Jamaican patty?
It's like a meat mincemeat patty with seasoning in it.
Oh, okay. It's like the okay. So I've never had it, but I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, so it's not just Jamaican, but they're always sold as Jamaican. But she grabbed some of the crappy frozen ones. We had them for dinner tonight, and as I was eating, I was like, "Oh, I remember these. These were our poor times food when I was young and poor." And she was like, "Oh no, that's just because you're white and you don't appreciate good food, even though it's cheap." It's not what she actually said. She said something much cleverer than that. But I'm not good at telling stories, which is why I am a live streamer.
Y'all fuckers don't know how to season your food. I
Basically.
say this as a white person who doesn't know how to season my food.
It's actually kind of weird because the meat is so low quality. At least in the like crappy frozen ones. Like
Yeah.
if you go to the Caribbean and you get an actual patty from the Caribbean, it's fucking amazing. But these frozen grocery store ones, like the meat is so low quality, but at the same time, like they have added seasoning to it to try and make up for the low quality meat. So it's like this weird combination of like, it's bland but spicy.
You
Like,
have the idea of spice.
No, because it actually is a little bit spicy, but like it's bland at the same time. So it's like, I don't know how you managed to achieve bland but seasoned and spicy, but you did it.
Rose Star, thank you for redeeming your points for an Owo. Sorry I missed that earlier. I was looking at meat. We have the concepts of the spice.
He was busy with the
Owo. Yes, that's where I was at. I'm sure. Yep.
yeah. There's similar vein. There's like technology just in general has been migrating away from turning like being able to turn off like all the way off. It's like my TV, for instance. It's the fucking user interface on it is atrocious, and it will fuck up all the damn time. And the solution to like when like the Netflix app or the Disney app or whatever fucking streaming service you're going to, when it doesn't load properly, you need to like do a hard reset on it. But if you just back out of the app, it doesn't close it all the way. And if you turn the TV off, it just goes to sleep, so everything's still running. So the way that you have to like actually close the app is to unplug like physically unplug the TV.
Yep.
That's the only way to do it. And it's like, why does pushing the power button not turn it all the way off? I want it all the way off. I don't need you to be using my electricity while I'm not using you.
So at the end of the day, the culprit is very likely capitalism. And I have a fun story to elucidate this. So, Richard Carrier had a housewarming party recently, and me, John, and Casey, and a bunch of others were in attendance. So, while I'm there, I mentioned John and Casey specifically, because while I'm at Richard Carrier's house, we are talking about Topgolf, because Godless Engineer made a big thing about wanting to go to do Topgolf. I did not go because it was a thing that happened the day before I got there, and that is all that matters about the story. Now, when I get home, me and Saki are watching Disney Plus, and I have the cheapo Disney subscription that has advertisements. And wouldn't you fucking know it, half of my advertisements are about Topgolf. Never once did I tell Saki about the Topgolf conversation until about the 5th fucking Topgolf advertisement that we got. My smart TVs were not with me at another person's house an hour away from where I live.
No, they're buying that data from one of the apps you have installed on your phone.
And it happened within 24 goddamn hours.
Paige Wilder OO says the solution power strips. So I actually use these guys. They're smart outlets that you can connect them to Google and everything, but I have a home assistant server running where everything's handled locally. And so if I need to like actually physically turn something off rather than getting up and unplugging it, I can turn these guys off. And Home Assistant is a little bit finicky. It's harder to set up than Google Home. But like, hey, do I want Google knowing when I had friends who went top golfing just so that I can set a 4-minute timer without pushing a button?
No. It's so agitating. I'm just sitting here like... Also, because when Saki and I got sick recently, we've had to order out food a lot because it's go find a food that's safe, that isn't going to use the little bit of energy reserves that we have. Most of the time it's been smoothies because that's the easiest thing to put on a stomach outside of soup. And so as a result, the other half of our advertisements have all been about restaurants. All of them have been about restaurants. And like that one, I at least understand. I don't like it, but I at least understand it. The Topgolf one throws me for a goddamn loop. The device that should have been listening to this wasn't there.
Yeah, no, it's because data is the most valuable thing. Like that is the new currency, is data.
We sold our data for convenience.
And there's so many, like, if the product is free, you are the product. I know that's a cliche at this point, but if you are using some free service or whatever, and then you're getting funny ads like this, it's not. I don't think it's some people who get more conspiratorial with it be like, oh, your phone is actually using its microphone to listen to the words you are saying and then sending you ads based on that. It's like, no. I don't think that's what they're doing, because they don't need to do that, because they can do because your location history is publicly available data.
No, they're definitely doing that one, because again, the conversation, it was a conversation. We didn't go to a Topgolf. It was just a conversation that was had. That's not a conspiratorial thing.
Yeah, but there's I'm sure there are other things that it can use. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not ruling it out. But I don't know. That seems like so much of an invasion that I feel like something there would be rules on the books against that. But like, what the fuck? Even our norms, like social norms at this point.
Even if there are rules on the book against it, we have precedent that it doesn't matter. Precedent 1, the Patriot Act exists. Precedent 2, in general, companies that are large enough, and Google is large enough and Apple is large enough, companies that are large enough will break the law if it makes them more money, because paying the fines for breaking the law...
Oh no, I had to pay $100 million fine for the thing that made me $1 billion in profit.
Yeah, like paying the fine costs them less than making the money off of our data.
Fennec says, I swear I'm not a complete Luddite, but not everything in my house needs to be smart. I don't need my oven, washer, dryer, fridge, microwave, or toaster to be smart. I need to do the shit that I bought them for. I agree. I think my dishwasher could be connected to Wi-Fi if I wanted to. But
why would you need your dishwasher connected to Wi-Fi?
I don't know why I would want to. In my last house, the fridge was Wi-Fi enabled. But I never connected it to the Wi-Fi, because why would I want my fridge to be connected to the Wi-Fi? Why do I need my fridge to be online? Like, and I hear people talking all the time about how, like, this hypothetical future where you've got, like, the fridge is reading NFC tags of the stuff that's in it, so that, like, when you take something out, it can tell you that you need to buy more. Like, it'll add it to your grocery list or whatever. I'm like, okay, that sounds great and all, but it doesn't do that. It just, like, tells me what the temperature is inside, which a thermometer can also do. And, like, it's got a thermometer built in as well. Like, I don't need the fucking Wi-Fi for that. I do have a washer-dryer combo that is connected to the internet. And that one, I did actually connect to the Wi-Fi, because there was supposed to be, like, you can download custom cycles or whatever for it. But then I didn't. And so now it's just sitting there being a security vulnerability for me, because I never use any of the Wi-Fi features.
Also, from a From an ex-Google employee who worked with the Android infrastructure, specifically in the advertising departments. While there is no person per se listening to your audio data, your Google Assistant is always listening for whenever you have activated it. People activate it all the time by accident. You can go into your Google account settings and listen to all of the times that you've accidentally enabled your Google Assistant and listen to the things that it's found. But because it's always listening for that, it's not very hard for a language learning model to extrapolate from there what to do.
Yeah.
This was from 3 years ago, so this is prior to the major prevalence of large learning language models as we understand them today.
Drew Harrison says fridge is weird, but dishwasher makes sense. You can program it to run by an app. Yeah, but like, I don't understand why that would be necessary, because like I have just
if I'm loading up the
like
dishwasher,
I just put the dirty dishes in. I have to physically put the soap in. So like I program it to run by just pushing the buttons that are on it while I'm right in front of it. So I don't get why that would even be a convenience thing. And like if I need it to run not right now, it's got a delay start feature in the buttons on the face. I don't understand why that would need to be an app. And then people said like, oh, so I get a notification when it's done. It's like, okay, if I'm home, it beeps at me. And if I'm not home, then it'll be finished by the time I get home.
Set dishwasher to run for 40 minutes. Set alarm on phone for 40 minutes. You've got the same experience.
Well, I actually don't know how long my dishwasher takes to run, but maybe I'm weird in this. But the way I do my dishes is they get loaded up after dinner, and the dishwasher runs overnight. So like I don't care when it's done, because sometime in the middle of the night is when it's done, and the dishes are clean in the morning.
See, I don't have a dishwasher, so this is all bougie shit to me.
Yeah, same thing. I've heard people talk about the dryer with the same thing, and it's like, okay. And I kind of get that, because like if there can be occasions when it's like I've got clothes that if they sit there for a while they're going to get wrinkly as shit, but if I get them now I don't need to iron them. Okay, be nice to know immediately when it's done. But again, if I'm in the house, it beeps at me, and if I'm not in the house, I'm not going to rush home to get a shirt out of the thing to avoid ironing it, because that seems like more of a hassle than just ironing it.
Also, all things considered, like, I don't see... What's the best way to put this? It feels like companies stopped trying to solve problems that consumers have a long time ago and have instead started inventing problems that a hypothetical consumer might have if it is explained to them how terribly inconvenient something very mundane is.
Yeah, like at this point, the only reason my clothes washer is connected to the internet is because it's more of a hassle to disconnect it than to just leave it.
Daniel Watson says Asmongold watched a dog killer play pretend Gestapo, yay based. Man, I already didn't like Asmongold, but every single thing he's done in the last week has made me want to just politely explain to him how dumb he is.
I mean, I know what that's in reference to, because that's in the tweets tonight.
Oh boy!
I mean, not Asmongold, but the rest of it. Like Asmongold, the only reason I know who Asmongold is because of Elon faking his Path of Exile account. Because I forget who it even was, but like someone else that I watch covered it, and they covered it by way of Asmongold's reaction to it.
Oh, so you got the reactception.
Yeah.
Jassa says, "Hail Roach King." Do you know what that's in reference to?
Jake. Probably not Jake, because I don't actually watch Jake. Don't tell him.
I don't.
It's okay. I don't watch Cirrus either.
I feel bad because I don't watch any of my friends.
Yeah, no, I don't either. Not even Paulogia anymore. Paulogia was the last one that like I used to like click on every one of his videos as soon as it went up. But yeah, no, I just haven't recently.
Yeah, like that's just I feel like that's a really common theme that happens with a lot of us. I don't know why. I guess it's because we're already covering that anyway.
We all do similar enough stuff that it's like, why would I watch this? I just spent all week doing the exact same thing myself.
Yeah, what am I discovering out of this outside of this person's take? And if I want this person's take, I'm just gonna drop them a line.
Someone redeemed a hydrate, and I'm all out of liquids.
Daniel Watson says Osmond Gold's house has roaches. That's the reference. Yes, but it's deeper than that, though. Osmond's house is like,
you talk about Osmond Gold. I'm going to get liquid because someone redeemed a hydrate.
Fair. His house is like famously unkempt.
And because of my wireless microphone, I can still talk and interrupt you doing whatever the fuck it is you're doing.
But you also can't hear me, so things just get weird. Just as full of dead rats. Yep, a dead rat he used as an alarm clock for some reasons. Jeff Fatigue says the explanations I've heard in the past has been they don't want to be influenced by someone else's content before they make their own video. That is part of it. I'm not super concerned with being influenced by somebody else's opinion on something, because, like, I've spent enough time disagreeing and arguing and sometimes even fighting with my friends about stuff like this, so I don't care too much about that part. You compare Asmund Gold's house to a den of Nurgle demons is an insult to Nurgle demons. I'm not super concerned that my opinion's going to be influenced by other creators.
So, hydrate. And you heard nothing.
Yeah, I heard I'm going to grab your boobs. And something about slapping. And
she slapped my hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
You didn't hear the ooh?
I heard something that sounded approximate to something that you should die for, but I don't know if it was that word.
Paige Wilder. Oh, hat. All right, wizard hat. Paige Wilder says, as for the smart fridge, I suspect the fridge would record basic data points like when the door is open, how often, for how long, etc. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if that's data that they're collecting for the sake of having user data, maybe. But, like, the features of that fridge were basically like, if something's wrong with the fridge, you can diagnose it over Wi-Fi. So I'm like, okay, I'll install the app when something goes wrong then.
You know what also lets you diagnose problems over Wi-Fi? Googling something.
Yeah,
Just
but
saying.
I mean, I could see that being a useful feature. More useful, though, would just be like on the display screen that it's got, just have like an error code.
Yeah.
So you can Google that error code instead of connecting it to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh, nope. So, yeah. Just basically wanted to shit on Trump for wanting a parade.
We didn't do that for very long.
No, we didn't. But it is ironic that they're pretending to care about government efficiency, but then they're wasting all sorts of resources on shit like this.
So there is the reason that the like diagnose thing with Google, the reason that immediately popped into my mind. Do you know the channel technology connections?
Of course I know the channel technology connections.
Okay.
I accidentally made all the same choices as them when it comes to like my appliances and shit. It's like I drive the same car as him. I have the same dishwasher as him. In the last house, I had the same microwave as him.
It sounds like you're stalking him.
No, this was all stuff that like... This is all stuff like it was research that I did on my own, and then I bought the thing, and then I saw his video, and I'm like, oh, that's my car. And oh, that's my microwave.
So, what I am mostly referencing to where he's concerned is he made a video called "Algorithms Are Breaking How We Think," and I don't know if you've seen it yet.
It sounds familiar.
So the beginning of the video is, let's figure out how to repair this old FM radio. You have all the information you need
Yes.
to repair this FM radio by me just handing you this picture. But most people don't know they have all the information they need right there.
Yes,
Because
I
we
do
are,
remember this one, yeah.
Because through and this is why there was somebody who said that the reason that I rail against TikTok and not YouTube in the same way, I rail against YouTube too, by the way, is because I don't make money off of TikTok. First of all, no. Secondly, the reason I rail against TikTok is a system that is exclusively short form content is algorithmically built to rot your brain, and not in the video games are going to rot your brain way that our parents told us. We actually have done studies now that link social media use and doom scrolling to dementia. A causative link. We have done enough analysis now to show that mindlessly consuming content, not just on smartphones, it doesn't matter how you're doing it, mindlessly consuming endlessly scrollable content literally prevents your brain from using its muscles that it's supposed to be using all the damn time for problem solving. And that is a direct cause of dementia. Jazza says, why would you let me know that? Because I care. So, completely side thing, Technology Connections video was about showing how just, not in a scientific way, but just on a day-to-day way, human beings generally fail to take the time to do anything for themselves when the option to mindlessly scroll is there instead. So when you look at... Fuck off. When you look at a picture of a radio and you are asked how to fix this radio, instead of doing what he did, which is, all right, well, we know that the radio is this brand and we know it looks like this, so let's just look at radios that are FM radios from this company and see if we can find an image that looks like the one that we're looking for. Then we can have the actual model number of this radio, and then we can start diagnosing problems. But most people won't do that. Most people have spent so little time engaging in problem solving that that concept is alien to them now.
Dark Falcon has been a member for 11 months, says this is why I like both of your contents, because we never stay on topic.
I feel like our contents are ADHD fuel, but in a way that doesn't rot your brain, maybe?
Yeah, we're long form.
And at the same time, like I do still have short form content that gets produced because it is the nature of the beast of the environment that I'm in. I am on YouTube. I am a person who makes content on the internet, and the internet very heavily favors short form content right now. So but I'm still not a fan of it. I fucking hate it.
So here's the thing. It actually does both. It's you either got to go short or go long. You can't stay in the middle. And somehow my last like 3 or 4 videos have all been under half an hour long. So I'm like in the middle. And it's like, oh, that was a bad decision on my part.
Yeah.
But you know what? They were fun videos. Like the one coming up this Friday is like 19 minutes long. So it's like 10 years ago, I would have said that's too long, got to split it into 2 parts. But now I look at that and I'm like, wow, that is so short. How did I get one out that's so short?
I felt weird that the decks that I have been working on for my channel have ended up being like 28-ish minute videos instead of 40. Like, I talked about 100 individual cards and even did a live play test. How did this come out so short? I should stop talking fast.
I've thought about talking slower, but I just got a comment the other day that was like, I love how fast you talk. make things so much easier to process or something, is what they said.
You're just sitting there going, all right, I'm going to talk very fast. I'm going to talk like Ben Shapiro. I love my hero, Ben Shapiro. My hero, Ben Shapiro, says so many good things, and I love the way he talks. He's so smart.
I'm hoping that having Piper edit my stuff will kind of nip this in the bud. But what I noticed about myself was that I was getting faster as time went on because I don't like listening to myself talk. Believe it or not, it's really weird for a YouTuber to not enjoy hearing themselves talk. So what I would do is I would edit when I edit my own videos. I always watch them on fast forward. So like I never do it at regular speed. And so I got used to hearing myself speaking fast. So then when I'm recording, I'm like, oh, I'm speaking really slow right now. I guess I better speed it up a little bit because this isn't how I'm used to hearing myself. So I would talk faster. And then it just became this cycle of like, I just keep getting faster and faster and faster. So I'm hoping that having an editor will kind of put a stop to that, and I will just stay at the speed that I'm at now.
There, thank you for the hydrate, CJ Sonic, and said, "What's your thoughts on the new Deadpool card?" There were two ways they could have gone with the new Deadpool card. They could have either gone with breaking the fourth wall or making him like immortal with hyper regeneration and shit. I'm happy they went with the breaking the fourth wall effect for him, where he gets to steal the text box on other magic cards. I'm happy they went with that one.
Oh, that sounds stupid.
Yeah, it's also the Master Multiplied from the Doctor Who sets spiked up like 1,000% in price because of the Deadpool card.
Okay.
Because what people are doing is they're putting Master Multiplied in the deck and then making Deadpool swap his effect with Master Multiplied so that you can create an infinitely scaling army of Deadpools that infinitely steal all the text from your opponent's cards.
Yeah, okay. I'm just thinking back to my kid who had a whole society of imaginary friends that they could still tell stories about the entire time. They all had names. There's Malibu Xing Xing and Nini and Alan and yeah, now they've been diagnosed as autistic and ADHD and
I mean, like for me, I had to look up this term earlier because I forgot what it was called. But there's a particular psychological term for when somebody creates a world inside their head, and that term or that particular phenomenon is almost always found in people who write because they have the world in their head. Like it's literally where they're pulling the data from for writing their stories, and like. I've used that as a coping mechanism for years. I've talked about it with my chat before. But then to find out that there are ways in which that becomes a disorder where it turns into what's called maladaptive daydreaming was something that I was reading into literally earlier today. CJ Sonic says reality marble. No, that's not the word for it. I'm going to look it up real quick while Rhino entertains you. No, not a mind palace. That's something that somebody uses for storage of data. That's the specific term for storing data in the brain.
And we all know about that because of Sherlock.
Yep. Or there's a mind palace. Paracosm.
Mind palace.
That's the word. Thank you, LFR. It's paracosm. Paracosm.
Perineum?
No, paracosm, a detailed imaginary world created and inhabited in one's mind, usually developed during childhood and characterized by a strong emotional connection and a complex subjective universe. So it's a really common thing in people who needed a place to retreat to in childhood for safety. I grew up in an abusive religious place, so, go figure. It's also a really common phenomenon for people who engage in a lot of creative writing because oftentimes they'll pull stories from there.